The views and opinions expressed on the cap are those of the hosts. They do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Old Milk Media. Any opinions stated aren't intended to offend anyone. On this episode of the Cap Podcast, we react to On My Way to Rexdale by Nav. Welcome back. This is episode 606 of your critical but accurate tour through hip hop, the Cap Podcast. We are your tour guides. I'm Nate Sperlin. That is Taylor McLeod. Thank you for tuning in wherever you might be tuning in, whether that's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else. Feel free to go ahead and join the conversation by leaving a comment, liking this video, and subscribing to the channel. That being said, Taylor, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Baseball's back. Baseball's back. So I know that's huge for me and you. So really that's what I've been focusing on.
Yeah, 1000%. I got MLB The Show like 2 weeks ago, and I've been playing that nonstop. And then like you said, baseball just started on Thursday, and I've been watching that nonstop. I was up to like 1 o'clock watching Mookie Betts hit that walk-off homer
Oh yeah.
on the Tigers. So that was really fun to
I
watch.
mean,
Especially like, oh, okay, we could put that away though.
you're wearing something
Anyway,
from a team that doesn't even exist.
well, hey man, this is history. This is a Jackie Robinson jersey, so you need to have some respect, sir.
This is older history.
I don't know
This
about that.
this is older history that's still going.
Man, anyway. On this episode of the Cat Podcast, we are reacting to On My Way to Rexdale by Nav. This album is 14 tracks, 37 minutes long, featuring Don Toliver, Playboy Cardi, and Metro Boomin. Once again, feel free to join the conversation by leaving a comment about what you think about On My Way to Rexdale by Nav in the comment section below. That being said, Taylor, what did you think about this album?
I think it's just like another example of Nav being good at what Nav does. Like Nav makes perfect Nav music, and that's like the easiest way for me to put it. Like he knows the exact type of music his fans want from him, and he makes that music, and then you listen to it and you enjoy it. And I think he's talented, and he can do a bunch of different things. Like I wouldn't say this album is groundbreaking or anything, but it's definitely like another example of a very good Nav album that you can like run back, and it's super easy to listen to, and it's like it's got a bunch of fun, maybe not fun, but it's got a bunch of interesting sounds and stuff. So it's like it's easy to really like.
Yeah, I agree with that. My expectation was that I expected him to kind of build off of the success of the previous album that we both liked, Demons Protected by Angels. And I like the great beats that he's a producer also, and like he's a really good producer. And his ability to match his production with his auto tune and his melody and stuff like that. Like I think that's something that has created the fan base and has allowed him to carry on for as many years as he has. Taylor talks about it all the time. Like he likes when it's one rapper and one producer, and I'm sure he loves that it's the same, like the rapper and the producer are the same person this time. So and that shows throughout, like the intentionality throughout shines through. And I think that overall this is a really good project from Nav. Um, I also want to acknowledge that every single song has production credits for Nav except for Unlimited. And this kind of felt more like an R&B album than a hip hop album to me. Besides like the two songs, track 5, Unlimited featuring Playboy Cardi, and track 6, Back to Business, which is just Nav. But yeah, like besides those two tracks, it felt like an R&B album, and I really liked that. It was like a very slow pace to the album. I think that Unlimited and Back to Back provide a nice contrast to the album also. And I think that Unlimited is probably going to be a hit, especially coming off of the run that Playboy Cardi seems to like he's going to be going on. This is the perfect time for Nav to kind of hop on a bandwagon and capture that wave while he can. And yeah, like I think that also another thing about this album is the fact that it's pretty cohesive in terms of sound and also in terms of subject matter. Nav is either talking about leaning on drugs to cope with the loss of his girl, or talking about having his girl and what she means to him. And that's really all you get from Nav in terms of concepts and topics of raps here. But at the end of the day, like it's a cohesive album. It's a very dark vibe. And yeah, like I pulled away a lot of songs from this, and I plan on listening to this album for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna steal from my final thought a little bit here, but like when you think of the like Toronto sound, right? You think of, at least for me, I think of like that early 2010s Drake and Weekend. You know, that super like it's like dark and it's like glossy. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's like just got the it's got a certain quality to it. And Nav Nav is great at it, and I think he might honestly stick to that sound more than either of those guys because they're like megastars, so they go do a bunch of different stuff. But I think that he does like the best job at sticking to it and has maybe like become like the best at like mastering that sound because he's the one still doing it. But he brings in these like outer space like video game kind of elements that
Yeah.
it makes you feel like it's like old Uzi music, like
Mhm.
low Uzi, like you know what I mean, where it's like you had like all the crazy like you just feel like you're in outer space, like listening to it, or you feel like you're in a video game, and I think that he combines those so well, and it's so easy to listen to because of it.
Yeah, I think the video game reference is very important here because the first song I thought about when you brought that up was Burbs. Like that's a beat that sticks out to me because of like
Yeah,
that kind of video game feel to it. And there's plenty of other tracks here that have that kind of like I already said, like dark, like you said, video game-ish, like kind of alien. Like I think Lil Uzi music is a great way to describe this. I also think that you bringing up The Weeknd and bringing up Drake is also important because they're all like Toronto artists. But I think that when we look at songs like You featuring Don Toliver, I kind of felt like The Weeknd would have fit very, very well in that song. We kind of get Weeknd vocals. There isn't really a
yeah,
official Weeknd feature on this album, but we get Weeknd vocals at the end of Unlimited.
yeah.
Um
That felt just like a reminder, like
yeah.
hey, I'm still EXO.
Yeah, like but like also with that, like I kind of felt like that song felt more like a Playboi Carti song that was given to Nav, being
Yeah,
that that's the only song that Nav doesn't have any production credits on. And when we saw what Playboi Carti and The Weeknd just did on Playboi Carti's album, and now we have a continuation of that kind of because again, it's not really an official Weeknd feature. But overall, like I think that Unlimited is probably the best track here. I think that Nav, like the auto tune voice, and then Cardi's voice, like I think that the chemistry that both artists show on this beat is really really nice. And the outro with the Weeknd and Playboy Cardi, like that also further solidifies that this might not have been originally a Nav track. But that being said, it's still the best track, and Nav fits on it really really well. So not saying anything to take it away from Nav, just observation that I made.
yeah. No, and I mean clearly if Cardi did give it to him, clearly he feels Nav did a good enough job on his side of it to say, "Oh, take it and put me on it." You know what I mean? Because Cardi doesn't just go on everyone's album or mixtape. So, I think that's a cosign. And I agree that it's probably the best. It's probably my favorite on the project, and it's just two like characters in hip hop that are like so interesting and came up around the same time and like became these like cemented stars very early, even though like they've gone different ways, but I feel like they've just both had stardom from the very beginning because of just like who they were when they showed up on the scene.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can definitely see that for sure. The other song I do want to talk about is the intro, which is titled Sinking. I think that that intro is really, really good because it really sets the tone for the rest of the album. It's kind of like the beat is kind of like guitar driven. It's kind of like stripped down from like usual Nav production. Like Nav usually has like that dark, um, spacious production, but here it kind of seems like there's more space here. And Nav is basically singing about like losing his girl and being alone, which again, that's basically what he's talking about for the entirety of the album. And I'm not really someone who really, really listened to Nav's albums before the last one, Demons Protected by Angels. So, and there may have been like other songs that Nav kind of has this formula with that I'm just not aware of, but like this kind of felt like a completely different vibe than what I was used to from listening to Nav and like listening to Nav's features before and stuff like that.
Yeah, he definitely like really sings his heart out. Like he, you know what I mean? He really lays it all out there. And I think part of what makes Nav charming and easy, like, you know what I mean, easy to root for, is that he does rap about like you said it perfectly. He said, what'd you say? You said doing drugs because you lost your girl or
Mhm.
losing your girl because you were doing drugs. Like that's what it is. And it's like Canadian Future in a way. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like
yeah,
different levels or whatever, but it's like It's like if that's how I'm feeling about something, maybe not specifically like that. If I'm in that headspace, then like and you know you have an artist to go to whenever you're feeling like that, like it's perfect. That's why you establish that connection.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Again, like I have to stress it though, because like Future's our GOAT. Like it's a very wide
Oh yeah,
margin
of
between the
course.
two artists. But like again, like when it comes to like that type of subject matter, I would put Nav and Future in the same category because like Future also raps about like drugs and women all the time. So I think that's a good connection from you.
It's just like committing to that being like the lane, right? Like
Yeah.
Pusha T committed to his lane. It's like sometimes a lot of these artists get lost because they won't commit to a lane or they don't have a lane to commit to, but it's like Nav found his and he stays in it and people love it because of it.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it because now we're off the
Yeah.
hook from the rest of the Future fans. I also want to bring up back to business real quick. I just thought it was nice to hear Nav rap without the autotune, and I thought that he rapped really really well without the autotune. It's nice to. I think that Nav does a really good job here of playing with his voice, like either not having autotune at all because I believe there's a point in the album where he's singing without autotune also. Um, and then like having like the regular Nav autotune that we're used to, and then also having like a deeper autotune that we hear on One of None. So I thought that was really, really nice. Um, Besides that, I mean, the only other track that I really, really want to talk about is Pain Away. Like I think that that's a good outro. I like the call and response kind of structure between the sample, or if that even is a sample, and Nav is maneuvering the song. And I think that was a good way to kind of close out the track. I mean, close out the album, I should say. But yeah, like I don't think any of these songs are really trash. Or even bad, really. Like most of these songs are good. The heavy majority of these songs are really good, but because the album's so cohesive and the subject matter is kind of the same throughout, they don't really stand out to me as much besides the tracks that I talked about already. Um, but yeah, playback value, or do you have anything else to add?
No, no, that's perfect. I feel the same exact way. Playback value overall, I mean the Cardi song will definitely get played, so I'll give that a couple months, especially if it really blows up. For me, like I'm gonna take some of this with me, but like I'm not gonna listen to this. I'm not gonna like keep playing this album like front to back, probably for any amount of time, unfortunately. I like it a lot, but it's like it's one of those things where it'll pop in my head and be like, oh, let me go check that out, but it's not gonna like go into the rotation.
Yeah. For me, I'd probably say 2 weeks. Um, I'm not really. Honestly, I haven't really maybe I'm just like out of touch or like not where I'm supposed to be on social media, but like I haven't really seen much buzz for like many albums this year besides Playboy Cardi. And this falls into that category, unfortunately. But subjectively for me, like I like the full album. I think the full album is a complete body of work, and I can see myself like, especially because of the length of it, it makes it perfect for like if I'm rushing to get ready for work or whatever, and I only have like 40 minutes to get ready, and this would be an album that I would play because it's only 36 minutes or 37 minutes. So I can see myself listening to the full album for like a month and selectively here and there listening to the full thing. I will definitely come back to Unlimited by Playboy Cardi or featuring
Yeah.
Playboy Cardi because that's a really, really good track. But overall, I would say a month for sure. And maybe also like this album I will also say has a chance to grow on me also because if I keep listening to it, it could the longevity of it could extend, especially now that we're getting into the summer months. I'm not really sure if this is necessarily a summer album just because of the darkness of the sonics on it. And maybe it might be something that I might have to revisit when I get to like the fall or the winter. But that remains to be seen. Final thoughts?
Yeah, so I kind of stole my final thought earlier. So what I'll say is this is another example of Nav being able to perfectly combine the sound that he's used for a long time, the subject matter that he's used for a long time, and the character that he's been for a long time to continue making music that Nav fans are going to really like and really identify with and attach to. And I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Nav fan in the world, but I've definitely listened to a decent amount of his music. And every time I play it, I'm like, this is why I keep coming back. So this is another example of that. My favorite tracks are Unlimited, You and I, and Red.
All right. My final thought is Nav delivers a good album that proves to be cohesive, sonically and conceptually, showcasing his continued growth as a vocalist and producer. My top three tracks: number three, Pain Away; number two, Back to Business; and number one, Unlimited. Thank you for tuning in to the Cat Podcast, episode 606. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Check out our previous episodes on Playboy Cardi's music, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, and more. Make your voice heard by telling us your favorite song from On My Way to Rexdale by Nav in the comments below and voting in our poll. You decide if On My Way to Rexdale is album of the year, fire, mid, or trash. Follow Old Milk on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Old Milk Media. Check out oldmilk.co for more information. I'm Nate Sperlin. That's Taylor McLeod. And we will be back when hip hop tells us to be, which will be the next episode, where we're talking about Lil Durk. So stick around for that. And we will be back we'll be back on that episode. So thank you for watching.